Hey, my soul siblings, my spiritual rock climbers, my Facebook family, and my spiritual friends. Super excited to be talking about something today that has been so wonderful, so helpful, so vital, and important on my path. And that's about finding my inner sense of freedom. So years ago, I was in school and they passed out this questionnaire and they asked questions about what is it you think you need to do to be loved? And one of the questions was, you have to be right. And it was absolutely yes, I have to be right in order to be smart, in order to be loved. And that came up a lot in my life. I felt like I needed to be right. I needed to prove that I was intelligent. I needed to prove my value. And looking back, I realize now that's not actually an attractive quality. And you know the saying, would you prefer to be right or would you prefer to be happy? For me, becoming happy has really been about surrendering my need to prove anything to anyone, surrendering my need to be right. It's so wonderful. It's been so liberating to be able to say this phrase, you know what? I'm willing to be wrong. I don't know. That has been so huge in regards to me just relaxing, settling in, and feeling this sense of internal freedom. And really, freedom can only be sensed internally. So many people think, well, I'll be free when I have a whole bunch of money. I'll be free when I can give up working, when I don't have to work anymore. Freedom isn't about external things. It doesn't mean we don't have obligations or that we're multi-billionaires. Freedom is an inner feeling. It's an inner state. And for me, hi, Patty, how are you? It's really about being relaxed into our authentic self. I love the quote, the greatest gift you can offer the world is to be authentically yourself. So what does that mean? What does it mean to be authentically yourself? It means not worrying about what other people think of you, not really contorting for the sake of comfort of others. It's not looking to others to take responsibility for your happiness. It's being self-sufficient. It's being self-sustaining. It's about really taking responsibility for how you feel. And to me, as I've surrendered fear, which has come off in layers, as I've released my worry, I really have settled into this place of peace and freedom. And it's really interesting, as we do this, as we start to dissolve or diminish worry and fear, and we start to experience that more internal sense of freedom and happy for no reason, which is the best feeling and happy of all, life starts to shift around us. Opportunities start to show up. People start to treat us differently because, again, our lives are simply mirrors of our relationship with ourselves. So as long as we're going out there trying to compete with anyone, trying to prove that we are valuable or pretty or lovable, we're going to suffer. That's just how it is. We're contorting ourselves for the mirror rather than just being in that relaxed, authentically aligned state. So, hi, Tim. How are you? I'm so glad you're here. Maggie, it's so wonderful to connect with you. How do you do? How do you do, Maggie, to you as well? It's always such an honor to see you pop up here. I really appreciate you showing up and being connected in this way. I just love this opportunity to have these conversations and hang out with everyone. So, freedom. Don't compare yourself to anyone. Comparing is the thief of joy. Don't compare, don't compete, and consider giving up the need to prove yourself to anyone. Another thing that has been really wonderful for me, really, really wonderful, is giving up making excuses. It used to be in the past when, say, for instance, somebody would want me to do something with them or for them, and I didn't want to do it, I would immediately kind of go through these excuses in my mind. Oh, I think I have a dentist appointment. Oh, I might be busy that day. Or, I would come up with all these excuses. What I eventually came to learn is, you know what the best reason of all to not do something is, that just doesn't resonate for me. As I'm checking in, it doesn't feel good. Nobody can really argue with that. I mean, they can, but that's the bottom line, right? So as I've settled into my place of knowing that I'm lovable and have surrendered the need for people to approve of me, I'm able to be more honest, which is an incredible relief. I don't know if you can relate to this, but I was certainly a people pleaser. I wanted people to like me. I wanted to make people happy. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you end up sacrificing yourself, your connection to your own heart, your soul, your good feelings, your personal integrity, when you start to surrender that for somebody else's benefit, this is when suffering will really start to occur. So as I really understood that I am hi Cindy, how are you? Hello, April. So you're relating to this, huh? Yeah, so it's, I'm probably not saying anything you don't know. And it's sort of, I like to remind myself of these things too. To be able to surrender worry, to be able to surrender fear, and to be able to ask yourself, anytime you're feeling worry or fear, to go, what am I really afraid of? What am I really worried about here? So for instance, when I was really worried years ago about, I have to be right, I have to be right. Well, what if I'm not right? Well, then people might think I'm stupid. Okay, then what? Well, then I'll be embarrassed and ashamed and vulnerable and not worthy of love. Okay, and then what? Bottom line is, the very bottom line is, God loves us. God loves us. We don't have to contort ourselves for human beings. We don't have to contort ourselves for any reason. If we're in personal integrity, and if we're relaxed into that space within where we can really receive God's approval, life feels a lot more joyful. Me personally, I've started to celebrate a lot more. I've started to experience that happy for no reason, which to me is freedom. And as I've relaxed and started to reside more in that place of self-love and freedom, my life has absolutely shifted around that. You know, and another thing that I think people get really afraid around is money. And as I've released my fear around that, I have become a lot more prosperous. I was meditating the other day, and I might have told you this story before. It was really funny. I was meditating, and like I do every morning, and I was thanking God for all the goodness in my life. I like to go through everything I'm grateful for. And one of the things that really came up for me is that I'm so grateful, God, that I don't have to worry about money. I don't have to worry about money. And what I heard so clearly was, you never did. I didn't. Sure felt like I did. But that was my fear. That was my worry. It wasn't the truth. The truest truth is I was always supported. I was always loved. I was always adored. But since I didn't believe it, it was hard for me to perceive it and receive it in my life. And sometimes these things have to start with cracking the mind open. What if you don't ever have to worry about money again? What if you can just take a deep breath and say, you know what? I'm free. I don't have to prove anything. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to contort myself. How does that feel? One of my wise and wonderful friends at one point said to me, Tammy, why don't I just give you, in this moment, permission to be you? Permission to just be you, all of you. Not more than who you are, not less than who you are. Permission to be you granted. And in that moment, I took a really deep breath. It felt really good to hear those words. And as I've settled into that feeling state more and given myself permission to just be me, not more than me, not less than me, just me, I have certainly settled into a place of more peace and happy for no reason and freedom. So I would like to do that for you right here, right now. I would love to be able to give you permission to be you, to be exactly who you are, not pretend to be more or dial yourself down and pretend to be less. Permission to be your authentic self granted. How does that feel? Can you settle into that feeling for a moment? Can you experience that? Can you receive that and allow that? And how does that feel? How does it feel as you hear those words? And can you take that in? Because I really do believe God is giving us permission to be ourselves. And once we can hear that, believe that, receive that, settle into that, again, not try to contort for the audience, not try to posture or pose, not to pretend to be smaller than who we are, not to puff up and be bigger than who we are. That's our authentic shape. Our authentic shape is peace. Our authentic shape is love. It's the truest truth of who we are. And as we experiment with that and play with that, as we start to align with our soul and source, we start to settle within ourselves. And it's sort of like a cork that starts to rise up. It's buoyant, right? That's why Abraham Hicks will say we meditate. It's like a cork. We let go of our worry. We let go of our fear. We start to float upwards. We start to ascend. And where we are in our vibration determines who we attract to ourselves, what opportunities we attract to ourselves, and who we're attracted to. So as we slough off our fear, as we slough off our worry, as we give ourselves permission to be our authentic selves and be exactly who we are, life starts to show up differently for us. We start to understand deeper truths. We start to just naturally become more pleasant to be around. We become more lovable because we're just comfortable in our skin. And something I have found is, as I'm comfortable in my skin, and this was one of the greatest compliments I've ever received in my life. Somebody said to me, you know, Tammy, the best thing about you is that you don't judge. You just seem so comfortable that you create an energy around you so people can relax and be themselves, whatever that is. I thought that was the most beautiful sentiment and compliment ever. And it's ironic because years ago when I did want to be right, I wanted to be right so people would like me. And when you're always trying to be right, it does the exact opposite. Because when we're fighting to be right or be prettier or be smarter, it makes people feel wrong or bad. That's not what I want to do. I want to be an uplifter. And not from that posture of being better than, but being exactly the same as, or just a unique being just like you, just like everyone. So again, yes, that is a beautiful quote. Perfect love drives out fear. That's absolutely correct. I love the saying, let thine eye be single and the body will be filled with light, which to me is love, which to me is freedom, which to me is comfort and celebration and joy. Happy for no reason is really being connected to that something greater, to know we are loved, to know we are perfect, even though we trip, fall, stumble, make mistakes, or sometimes wrong, sometimes vulnerable. It's okay. We didn't come here to be perfect. We came here to learn the lessons of love, to love ourselves and to be loving. As we're settled into that place of self-love, we give permission energetically for other people to take a deep breath. They may not even know why they feel better around you, but you'll know it's because you're aligned with love. You're residing in that place of internal freedom. You're starting to ripple out an invisible vibration that gives other people permission to just relax in your presence. It's a really beautiful gift to give to yourself, to God, and to the world. And I really believe God has a great time as he watches us ascend. I think God has a good time witnessing the evolution of our soul. And not only that, he has a good time through us, with us and through us. And if we're willing to sacrifice and settle and contort and be the martyr, that's not that much fun for God. I think God celebrates as we relax into our happy. I think God loves to bestow gifts and blessings on us that we receive graciously and in great gratitude, and acknowledge the giver of blessings in all things. And as I've personally experimented with this, and that's all this is. This has simply been an experiment in my life. As I've experimented with these principles and these things, my life has just really exponentially improved. And so years ago when I said, God, I want to be a helper, I want to be a healer, I want to be an uplifter, and he goes, don't even worry about that. Just let your life be the living example of your beliefs. Experiment with the tools, play with the principles, and see how it transforms your life, if it transforms your life. And it really, really has. I had a vision in my mind of being at a well, and there's this magical elixir in the well. And I would take a ladle full of this and I would chase people down the hill trying to give them this magical elixir. What I got was, don't leave the well. And so I don't. I just take care of my connection to source, and I just live my life of love. And beautiful things show up, beautiful people show up, wonderful opportunities and experiences show up without efforting. It's like I'm riding the wave. I'm floating down the river, and it is so peaceful and joyful. And there's such a sense of freedom. And I'm hoping that you're experiencing this in your life as well. And if you're not, maybe some of this resonates for you. Maybe there's some opportunities here for some experiments or some notions to play with, and maybe just implement them, try them, see if they work for you. And if they don't, that's okay. Move on to the next thing. And if they do, awesome. And if I share one little nugget that resonates for you that you can take and make your own, that is my absolute intention and honor and blessing and privilege. You know, I used to have publicists. I used to be out there trying to like garner these audiences and, you know, try to help in such a way that was exhausting for me and expensive. This is so much better. It's so graceful, so easy. And I think we can all have more grace and ease and joy and freedom in our lives if we open our mind to that possibility. If we can believe that we're worthy, as we experiment and play with the notions, as we just simply give ourselves permission to relax and be ourselves. And you are an aspect of the infinite. So to be your authentic self is going to be a constantly evolving and shifting dynamic. There are aspects of the infinite. There's always going to be something more to explore, to play with, to celebrate, to learn about, to be that perpetual student with an empty cup, be willing to not know. That's how we learn. That's how we grow. That's how we continue to expand. And I don't know about you, but I want to live from that posture of being the eternal child, that sense of wonder, that sense of celebration, that sense of play and creativity and joy. And kind of like life is like kindergarten, except for so much better because I can drive now. And I don't have to take math classes anymore. I've done the hard work, and now I can just relax and enjoy the journey. So I hope that you are enjoying your journey. I hope you're giving yourself permission to just relax, enjoy the expression of God that is you, because you are indeed beautiful and precious and unique and perfect and amazing. And the more you can just accept and relax and receive those truths, the more you can just simply allow yourself to create and play, the more you can focus on what is good and right about you, the more you're going to attract people that reflect the good and right about you back to you. So again, our lives are a mirror. And if you have worry and fear, ask yourself, what is that about? Get to the bottom of that inside of you. And what would it be like to surrender that? Maybe not permanently, but how about for a day? You know, when I was first posed the question, do you believe the universe is a safe and loving place or not? My answer was no. So many bad things had happened to me, and I could look around at situations in the world that were so tragic. How could this be a safe and loving environment if all these bad things have happened to me and to other people? My teacher said, I submit to you that the universe is a safe and loving place, and why don't you just experiment with that for a while? And I gave myself 2 weeks. I'm going to relax for a little bit and pretend that I'm safe and I'm loved. The universe is on my side. And if it doesn't work, I'll go back to this other way of being that wasn't working. As I relaxed into that concept, my life shifted immediately. There was immediately God winks and synchronicity. There was almost immediately support and prosperity. So I never did resort to that fear-based way of being. I continued to slough off layers of more fear and more worry and really relax into that place of love and connection to the divine. And as I have, life shows up miraculously. There's magic every day. And I know this isn't just for me, it's for all of us. All of God's children are special, and none of God's children are special because we're the same stuff. We're exactly the same stuff. We're star stuff. You're star stuff. You're remarkable. You're beautiful. You're loved. Take a deep breath. Give yourself permission to center in your heart and to live more from that space of peace and love. Find your authentic shape. Enjoy being you. Look in the mirror and say, you know what? I like you. I like being you. It's an honor. And thank God for that. Thank God for the honor and pleasure and privilege of being you. And as you really explore and experiment with that more and more, life is going to show up as a more joyful adventure. Rather than the burden, it will be a blessing. And you will experience more freedom and grace, the wind at your back, things going your way, grace, ease, celebration, gifts, blessings, miracles, and great love. So I hope some of this resonates for you. I hope it's given you some opportunities for going to the next deeper, more authentic level of being you so that your life can be a joy and a celebration. And we can continue our rock climbing adventure, going higher with grace and ease to the truth of who we are as magnificent and incredible spiritual beings, having this sometimes bumpy or clumsy human experience. But again, I am so grateful for your presence in my life. It sure is fun to connect with some of my friends from the past and some of my new friends that I haven't actually met in person. Timothy, you're just adorable. I appreciate you being in conversation with me here. It's fun to have these conversations, especially if you're communicating with me. So unconditional love in the divine. Absolutely. Exactly. Yes, yes, yes. So again, if there's anything I can do to support you, that's why I'm doing what I do, just to continue the journey with you in a way that's fun and joyful and graceful and easy. So take good, gentle care of yourself. Be in touch if you have questions or things you want to talk about, things you want to discuss. Let me know how you're doing. You know, this matters. This is about being in relationship, relatedness, connection, celebration. You're not alone. The truest truth is we are all one. The more I know that, the more I feel that, the more I experience that and believe that, the more my life is a joy. So let's continue the adventure together and know that you're in my heart, my meditation, my blessings, my prayers. And if you have a particular prayer request or blessing or something that you need support with, please be in touch. It's my honor and pleasure and privilege to be connecting with you. So take good, gentle care of yourself, and let's continue the conversation as we go higher. And I will look forward to connecting with you next Monday, if not before. So take good, gentle care of yourself. I love you, and God does too. That's even more important. All right. We'll talk to you soon. Onward and upward. Bye for now.